Echoes of Wisdom was a game that I had little to no interest in leading up to its release, and yet, after beating it this last week, it was absolutely the game I needed to play right now. Something about its chill vibes, along with the puzzle gameplay, has made this one of the best, it's the best Switch game I've played all year. Something about the initial trailer, though, it just didn't click with me. I didn't connect the dots. It seemed like a spin-off. Gimmicky, kind of for kids, like a blow-off title that I planned on missing. I was really wrong. This is a full-fledged 2D Zelda game, and a really solid one at that. The focus isn't the traditional combat and item unlock gameplay loop that you experience in traditional 2D Zelda, but the rest of the game is pretty close to the formula everybody is used to. There's dungeons, a large overworld of Hyrule, you gotta save it. There's a great evil that has to be stopped, and with the twist this time of getting to play as Zelda herself. Instead of the sword, your main tool is the Tri-Rod, which lets you summon echoes of creatures and items that you've learned throughout your journey. These could be everything from a box, a rock, a trampoline, a spider, enemies you've defeated in the game, with the exception of bosses and a whole lot more. The game gives you complete freedom to tackle puzzles however you see fit, and what's really cool is most of the puzzles can be tackled in a ton of different ways. You can sequence break this game open from the very get-go, and it's actually one of the coolest 2D Zelda speedruns because of how much freedom they give you. So, quick background on this game. Grezzo, the team who handled the remake of Ocarina of Time 3D, Majora's Mask 3D, and most recently the Link's Awakening Switch port, they're the same team in charge of Echoes. The idea for the game actually came from the Dungeon Maker feature they put into Link's Awakening. It's kind of like Mario Maker, but with 2D Zelda. However, Aonuma decided to change the idea of just a Dungeon Maker game and to create a whole adventure game where the player is offered a new way to play The Legend of Zelda. And I'm pretty happy they went with this route because the Dungeon Maker tool in Link's Awakening, while cool, it's not something I want to mess with for like 20 hours. What really stood out to me in Echoes was that freedom that the developers just gave you. With the right echoes, you can pretty much go anywhere at any time, and you can get those echoes on the overworld really early. You can go up everything, you can ascend things, you can hop around on the trees, up mountains. Wherever you want to go for the most part, you can. The music is also a massive standout to me. I have a lot of fond vibes and memories of the Link's Awakening Grezzo port because it did just so much justice for that game's original soundtrack. It was nostalgic, ethereal, and the remake just nailed the vibe so well. Echoes has such an impressive soundtrack. It's got so many allusions and callbacks to the melodies all Legend of Zelda fans are familiar with, but with a very unique and gorgeous take on it. The main theme in particular is straight up phenomenal. I wish I could play it in this video, but out of caution against any sort of copyright elements, I'll leave it out. It's a solid soundtrack though. The game has quite a bit of story and narrative packed in. I was pretty surprised how much narrative was actually there, and a very solid length of game with cool post-game and side quest content to go after. The big thing though is performance. If you remember the Grezzo port of Link's Awakening, it had some serious frame rate slowdown on a few tiles and screens that were particularly busy, especially in the overworld. It would slow down substantially. And Echoes is way more ambitious with the visuals, so it has a lot more of that slowdown. They pushed way past the Switch's capabilities with this game. I think the art style and the overworld in particular are absolutely gorgeous, but man, there are a lot of points where your frame rate just will tank. It was not enough to deter me from playing the game, but it also has me wondering why they chose to push it out with this level of slowdown. My best guess is maybe Switch 2 is bringing some form of backwards compatibility with enhancements or whatever, but you should be very aware going in. I don't love the performance drop downs, and part of me is like, hey, couldn't you make some sacrifices visually to keep it smooth? But whatever. It didn't deter me, like I said, but you should at least know before hopping in. With such open-ended solutions to most of the problems within the game, it does have a bunch of replayability just built right into it. Additionally, I think this representation and style of Zelda game is needed. I'm very hopeful that Nintendo will give us a traditional Legend of Zelda 2D game with this art style or in this same vein moving forward, but maybe without the tri-rod and the echo mechanics. I would love a typical Legend of Zelda adventure where Zelda picks up the sword for the entire journey and is the lead character. I did forget to mention there's a mechanic where you can, for a limited period of time, use the sword, shield, arrows, and bombs as if you were Link. However, this is all gated by an energy mechanic that depletes while you use it. So you swap between Zelda and the sword mode back and forth. And honestly, I loved the puzzle gameplay. It was super cool. Those mechanics are great. I didn't love the time-gated sword mode as much. I kind of wish, they would just let Zelda wield the sword. I know the devs in the game really wanted you to solve the combat puzzles using your echoes, and it can be fun letting your AI characters fight against each other. You can do some pretty messed up things. You can deploy a block of water and then grapple onto an opponent, pull them into the water, and they straight up just drown. Like, it's wild. You can do some very cool things, but I did find myself just wanting to hop into the sword form to take out enemies because sometimes it was just faster and more fun than waiting for the AI battle to play out. I'm just saying, give Zelda her own game, let her wield the sword the whole time like Link. Another element that could improve upon slightly is the organization of the echoes. The menu designs are totally descendants of Tears of the Kingdom. Those menu designs, while very functional, especially in Tears, in Echoes, near the end of the game, you're sifting through dozens and dozens of echoes to get to the one that you want to use or the one you liked. They could have easily thrown in a favorite system or a gallery layout that would let you, find what you're looking for a little bit faster. Now, regardless, the art direction, the tone of the story, the exceptional music, and the unique gameplay all resonated with me extremely well. And I wasn't expecting to get a game like this so close to the end of the Switch's life cycle. I mentioned at the start, this game sort of came at the perfect time. The last month for me has been tough. So much work stress. I was sick for like 3 weeks. And I get pretty nostalgic this time of the year here in the fall. So getting to play something like a puzzle game. I normally wouldn't play this, It put me out of my comfort zone. And yet the music was so cozy. It was on point. It just kind of helped this last month. It was a total comfort game. I've been on a Legend of Zelda kick lately, beating Ocarina of Time 3D, then Majora's Mask. I just beat A Link Between Worlds, and then now Echoes. This has been my grind the last 3 or 4 months. So just kind of pumped on the series. I kind of want to play some of the other titles and finish the ones I haven't beaten yet. So if you can overlook the performance issues and you want a solid 2D Zelda game with a unique spin, Echoes pretty much lands really in a great spot. Sick game, easily would recommend it. And again, surprised, it's pretty meaty. My favorite Switch game of the year. Have you played it? Are you thinking about it? Let me know about your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching. I hope everybody had a great week. Enjoy your weekend, take it easy, and I will see you again on Monday.